There are a few bands that can get 8 albums into their career and still be producing music at the highest level. Not only that, but producing the best music of their careers. And one of those bands is Dance Gavin Dance. That's right, the post-hardcore mainstays are back with their 8th studio record, Artificial Selection. 2016's Mothership showed the band further evolving their sound, and Artificial Selection continues that trend, with the band keeping the things that made people fall in love with them in the first place while trying new things. Dance Gavin Dance have always been a band that haven't really been on my radar. I've always known that they've been around and that they're a popular band, and they've always been a band that I've wanted to delve into, but it was only until Mothership that I really put my time into a record, and man did it reward me. So going into Artificial Selection, I didn't really know what to expect from it, and this record shows the band further experimenting the melodic side of their sound, using quite a few softer passages throughout the record to really highlight vocalist Tillian Pearson's vocal chops, which are absolutely fantastic. The band have always had a frenetic quality to their instrumentation, especially within the guitar playing, and this quality is of course continued on this record. Any fan that thought that they were just going to go for a mainstream sound, you have nothing to fear. This band are just here to play the music that they want to play without cutting corners and without compromising their artistic integrity. Having said that, the frenetic energy is allowed to be tempered by some more pop-leaning vocal melodies that are used throughout the record. Yes, that's right, I said pop. Now, when most people hear the word pop, they think I'm talking about the 2018 pop music that is on the radio all the time. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking catchy melodies and hooks that just become earworms, and you find yourself humming along to yourself throughout the rest of your day. And these melodies are 100% instant. As soon as you hear them, you kind of sit back in your chair and just smile. And there are still your heavier leaning tracks. In particular, The Rattler, which is a heavy, punching song right in the middle of the record that really is a nice welcome addition and highlights vocalist John Mess's vocal chops. But I'll be honest, I find myself drawn to the more melodically focused compositions, especially the ones that have a softer tonality to them, kind of like Care and Count Basie do. Care is easily one of my favourite tracks on the record, starting out with this beautifully played clean guitar and some really smooth melodies. And it blends into the heavy element of the band really well. Tillian Pearson is easily the highlight of this track, but the use of instrumentation, especially dynamically, really backs up those vocals well. And the goddamn hook that is used towards the end of this track is just so groovy. In fact, groove is one of the elements of this record that really stands out the most. Every single second of this record, you'll just find your head bobbing the whole time, subconsciously, but you won't be able to stop yourself. It's just infectious. I've always loved the way that Dance Gavin Dance records have been produced, and on Artificial Selection, the band have used Chris Crummet, who is a really well-known mainstay within the Warped Tour scene, and on this record, he's absolutely crushed it, which is no surprise because he's produced bands like Issues in the past, and they use a lot of the same kind of elements, definitely in different ways, but you'll see the relationship. And there's so much going on within Dance Gavin Dance records, but you never feel lost. Even with so much going on, there is a sense of space within the landscape of the record, which really allows you to isolate each individual element of the record as you're listening to it and see how they're complementing each other. Something I've always loved about Dance Gavin Dance is their use of technical guitar playing. There are so many bands where their technicality becomes a hindrance. They don't use the technicality to complement the songs and use good songwriting to make that technicality stand out. Instead, it's kind of just like, oh, look how fast I can play. Dance Gavin Dance don't do that. They do the exact opposite, and it shows so much songwriting skill. In other words, I'll say this, there is no guitar wank on this record, but this record isn't perfect. If there's something that I can say that is very consistent throughout Dance Gavin Dance's discography, it's that the large majority of their records are a little bit too long. And that's not to say that there are horrible songs on this record that should just be removed from their catalogue forever. It's more that there are a few songs here and there peppered throughout the record that aren't up to the same standard and kind of make you feel like the band are just treading water. They just feel subpar compared to the songs that are surrounding them. And I think if the band had just kind of cut this record to 10 or 11 songs, it just would have been a barn burner of a record that is just fantastic from start to finish. But as I said, there are just a few songs that feel a bit too middle of the road, and that's just compared to the standard that Dance Gavin Dance have set for themselves. And I think the first half of this record is definitely strongest. You could go from the run of Son of Robot to Shelf Life. Man, that 8-song run is just impeccable. So the second half is definitely weaker, but then you get songs like Story for My Bros and Gospel Burnout, which are two of the highlights of the record. Story of My Bros is actually a song that I'm really surprised wasn't used as a leading single for this record. It's a song that I can see being a massive highlight live. It has such a fun, upbeat energy to it, and Pearson's vocal performance is on another level here. And I love the use of harmonies to create more impact on certain phrases. And while the song does simplify the instrumentation compared to the rest of the record, I do like that change towards the end. Once again, Dance Gavin Dance have returned with another fantastic record, and one that's going to see itself at the top of many people's album of the year lists. Fans of Dance Gavin Dance are going to find so much to love here, and for people who have never listened to this band before, I'd say this is a perfect first introduction to the band's sound. And how this band aren't one of the biggest bands in that scene right now, if not the world, is pretty crazy to me. These guys are just incredible. And that's all I've got for you guys today. Make sure you follow all my socials down in the description, and I'll see you guys next time.